Hello, everyone, and you're tuned in to another edition of A Journey with Women Who Boss Up. This is where I have conversations with women who rise above and become bosses. These women have a sense of confidence and awareness about where they stand in this world. They handle their business and authentically love what they do. Now, my guest today is Monica Brazier. How are you today, Monica?
I'm great. Thank you, Marcy. Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure. I've been knowing Monica for quite a while now. I'm glad to have her on as one of my guests. So for those of you, we're going to talk about her journey. So Monica has been an entrepreneur and business owner since 2005 when she opened Blessed Creations Multimedia and Website Design. 14 years in the business has taught her the importance of branding, marketing, and building client relationships. And we're going to talk about all of that with you all today. Monica, tell us, what was life like growing up for you?
Oh, again, Miss Marcy, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on your podcast, and congratulations to you for building such a great platform for women to come and listen and learn.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Life as a child, my childhood was great. I grew up with both parents, my mom and my dad. They always inspired my sister and I to pursue our dreams and just go and seek and do the things that we desire to do. They've instilled in us early to never let anybody tell us, what we can't do, and just kind of prove the world wrong by pursuing our dreams and going after what we want.
Okay, that's great. I love parents like that. Yes. Blessed Creations and Multimedia Design. Now, you were doing this as a side hustle.
Right. So a little bit of my backstory is I graduated from the University of Phoenix online with a bachelor's degree in visual communications. And with that degree, I started designing websites. So I worked with local churches and small businesses in the area, designing their websites. And then I quickly learned that you have to have great photos in order to have a great website. And I just fell in love with the artistry of photography more.
Okay, so were you doing photography prior to that?
I wasn't. A friend of mine actually asked me to photograph his music group at the time. And so I did what everybody does and went to the University of YouTube and Googled everything and tried to teach myself how to work a camera for that photo shoot. And that was a lot of fun. And it turned out great. And just, the rest is history.
Right. So you basically self-taught is how you started your business.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Now, what made you decide on the name Blessed Creations?
At the time, it was just what resonated with me. It wasn't until I actually attended a workshop years later, a photography workshop, and, a colleague came up to me and said, you really should change your business to your name. Your name, is awesome. Monica Brazier Photography, So I was like, you're right. My name is kind of awesome. So I'll go ahead and change it on over. So that's how it started.
Nice. Okay. So you quit your full-time job as a customer service rep to start your own business. What prompted you to quit your full-time job, and what was your key driving force to becoming an entrepreneur?
If I'm being honest, so I worked for the Whirlpool Corporation, which was in Benton Harbor, right? It was about an hour drive from South Bend each way. And I was a single mom at the time. I would leave my, 5-year-old child at daycare. She was 4 at the time. I would, leave her at daycare. It would be like 10 hours a day, and so that was kind of wearing on me. And plus, it just took me one time to, slide off the road in winter weather to say, hey, this job is not worth me risking my life for, And so I was doing the website design. I was doing the photography on the side. And when I started actually bringing in the income that replaced my Whirlpool income, I was like, it's time to take a leap of faith and just go on and do it.
Okay, great. Glad to hear that worked out. That's amazing.
But I will tell you this, Miss Marcy, the day that I reached out to Whirlpool and said, hey, I quit was like the scariest day of my life. I sat there at my computer and I cried. Just of the unknown, of the fear of, failure and all of that. But, thanks be to God, I'm still here today.
Exactly. And that was going to be one of my questions, stepping out on faith. Were you scared?
Of course.
Yes.
I was married, of course. I'm still married, but I have my husband always to fall back on, and I'll just give a shout out to him. Thank you, hubby, for always, supporting and, helping me with my dreams. But, of course, I had him to fall back on, but ultimately you want to be able to provide and take care of your family also and contribute. So yes, it was very scary. It's still scary today, but just keep the faith.
But yeah, keep the faith. Exactly. And those doors will open for you. So, okay, you talk about family support. So when you decided you wanted to leave Whirlpool and just go full time with Monica Brazier Photography, tell us about the support you had, with your husband or any family support, and how you got started with the business.
Well, I'll give another shout out to my mom, Laura. She was very supportive in the beginning. She brought me, she invested in my business. She brought me my first computer where I was able to edit and, my first fancy Apple computer.
Okay.
And, support was great from family members. Of course, there's still some fear and there's some doubt. There's some naysayers.
Yes.
There's always going to be naysayers. But just like my father instilled in me as a child is just to keep going and keep persevering past those, naysayers. A lot of times people want to reflect their own self-doubt onto you.
Yes.
And just because they haven't seen it done before, it doesn't mean it can't happen.
Exactly.
So you just got to keep going.
Exactly. And then show them that it can be done. And maybe that will motivate them to get out there and do something.
The world is just waiting for you to get up and do it.
Exactly. Now, what types of photography are you doing?
Currently, I specialize in maternity and newborn photography. And I love just being able to help women feel sexy and confident about themselves during the time of pregnancy. A lot of times women walk into my studio and they don't feel up to being photographed because they're like 8 months pregnant, right?
Right, yes.
But they walk out of the studio just feeling alive and just a newfound confidence about themselves. And it's a great transformation to see.
Exactly. And that's amazing. Imagine if that would have been happening when because I remember at 8 months wobbling around.
Exactly.
In the middle of summer. And it's hot and just
yes,
yeah, that would have been amazing.
Yeah, but the moms, they come in, they get their makeup done, they're pampered, they're treated like a model for the time that they're with me, and truly, I get compliments all the time about how great they feel when they leave.
That is awesome. Yes, pampered while pregnant.
Exactly.
Exactly. Leaving Whirlpool, the corporate world, how did you know you had the right idea to step out on faith and just go full time?
Well, again, I just had the confidence in myself. I had that strong faith. Well, I'm still heavily involved in church, and so my faith is really strong. And again, the support of my husband and my other family members around me just gave me the motivation to keep going.
Okay, amazing. That's great. So what's unique about your business?
What's unique about my business, I would have to say, would be myself. And I say this in the most humble way possible. Like nobody can be Marcy Taylor, right? Nobody could be Monica Brazier.
Right.
And like I'm not saying that in a bragging way or a boastful way at all, but it's like we all bring our unique spice to the table.
Right.
You could line up 5 photographers in a row and give them the same scenario, the same equipment, and say, hey, photograph this, and you'd get 5 different results.
Exactly.
Because we all have a unique stamp.
Exactly. So what is non-negotiable for you?
I would have to say my non-negotiable would be to sacrifice quality. So that's from the service that I provide my clients to the products I offer to the outfits I provide in my studio. I never want to sacrifice quality because, again, that sets me apart, setting the bar and setting the standard higher than the rest.
So how do you handle, because we all deal with it, that one person that comes in and they feel they don't want to pay your price. They want to pay their price. How do you handle that situation?
Oh, I get that all the time. You know what? And my motto is just the people that get it, get it. If they understand what quality is, and if they want it, they'll pay what you're charging. And, I'm not cheap.
Right.
I say all the time, I am not my customer because I wouldn't pay what I charge,
Right.
and that's fine. And you don't want to cater to everybody. And I don't think the goal should be to be the cheapest photographer on the block. I do what I love, and I am able to provide a beautiful life for myself and my family because, through photography, and I'm not ashamed of not being the cheapest.
And you shouldn't. You are what you are worth. You have to,
exactly
charge what you are worth.
Definitely.
As a photographer, what drives you to keep going when it gets really tough? Because I'm sure there's times when, slow seasons, slow times, when it gets really tough. What drives you to keep going?
What drives me to keep going is just, keeping that part of my brain, the creative side of my brain active, even in the slow seasons, like, January, February are usually always very slow for photography in general. So I'm still in the studio. I'm still practicing lighting. I'm still, practicing. I have a teddy bear at my studio that I wrap up like a newborn. Really? And I practice posing and different skills in the slow season. I gotta keep my brain active and motivated. And then that way, when the busy season comes, I'm ready.
You're ready. Exactly. That's awesome.
What do they say? If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
That part. Yes, indeed. What is your why? Why do you do what you do?
I honestly think my why and my drive and my motivation are all in the same. I'm driven by the fact that I love to be creative. Like I said, I like keeping that side of my brain active. I'm also motivated and driven by the fact that I'm setting an example for my children.
Okay.
They see me being a mom, they see me being a wife, they see me being a business owner, and I'm showing them that they can do all the things too.
Right, exactly. Showing by example. Yes,
Exactly.
exactly. So, being an entrepreneur, how has that affected your family life?
I would say it's been pretty positive. Being an entrepreneur, I'm able to set my own schedule and I'm able to show up for my children during the day when they have a speech or something going on at school, or even after school when they have a sports program. I'm able to be there for them, and I can be transparent and say it's not all peaches and cream, right? You have to have that work-life balance. You have to set time aside for your family and time aside for your business. So it's just a balancing act, and I do the best that I can.
And you do it well. What is your favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur?
I, again, would have to say just time freedom. Being able to set my own schedule is one of the greatest perks. Now, you have to have discipline in order to get the work done, but I don't necessarily have to wake up to an alarm clock every day, and I can do the self-care. I can go to the gym in the morning and sneak away and get my nails done. So I would have to say time freedom is definitely my favorite part of being an entrepreneur.
Okay, so what motivates you?
Again, motivating me would be the example I'm setting for my children. I'm motivated by just being creative, having the opportunity to be creative.
Okay. What has been your most satisfying moment in business?
I would say the most satisfying part of my business so far is being able to meet in person and learn from, bigger photographers that I follow, like on social media, or that I aspire to be So just actually being able to meet them in person and learn from them directly is just really an honor.
Okay, so what would you say are the top 3 skills needed to be a successful entrepreneur?
That's a really great question. Entrepreneurship, it comes with its many challenges and ups and downs. So I would definitely say that you have to have resilience to bounce back from those challenges. Like Aaliyah said, if at first you don't succeed, you have to dust yourself off and try again. I would also say that you have to have persistence to remain determined to pursue your goals despite those challenges and be self-motivated. Lastly, I would also say you have to have a passion for the work that you do. Yeah. And that's going to be the fire that's inside of you that drives you to pursue your goals.
Yes, most definitely. I agree with all of those, especially the passion part. Now, I want to know, who has been your greatest inspiration?
My greatest inspiration, I would have to say early on, I followed a photographer by the name of Jasmine Starr, and I loved her beautiful spirit. At that time, blogging was really popular. It was just, getting started, and she would blog about the beginnings of her career, and she was just so transparent. I just loved how open she was with the world about starting her photography business, and now she's like a household name in the photography world. Yeah. And then, again, just other bigger names in photography that I follow today. Those are who really inspire me. Lola Milani, Lindsay Adler, photographers like that.
Okay. What kind of barriers have you had to encounter?
I would have to say the biggest barrier would have to be mindset, and just working on always daily creating a positive mindset for myself. I think I said before, a lot of times people will put on you affirmations or tell you can't do something, but that actually is what motivates me the most. If somebody tells me I can't do something, it motivates me more to want to do it. And I always give the example too of racehorses. A lot of time, or they put blinders on racehorses so that they don't look from side to side and peek out their competition, right? And that helps them to stay focused on what's ahead, on their goals ahead. And so that's what I try to do daily, is just stay focused on the goals ahead.
Love it. So with that, you say mindset. So let's talk about how important it is to challenge yourself, especially with different kind of mindsets hitting you on a regular basis.
Challenges. I welcome challenges because that's how you grow. And I love accepting new challenges and new opportunities because it gives me, again, a chance to be creative and, again, practice self-development.
Okay. Now, let's talk about building your tribe, having a circle of people around you that can support you. How important is that?
That's very important. I would have to say my husband, my mom, and my sister are my biggest cheerleaders.
Okay.
Everybody has down days, and
Yes.
there'll be days I'll wake up and I just want to go back to bed and pull the covers over my face, right? But I'm really thankful for my support system. They help me to keep going.
Okay. Now, in your journey, how often do you have to pivot, and is pivoting normal?
I used to have a mentor where his slogan for me was innovate or die. And basically what that means to me is, pivoting. You have to pivot. You have to reinvent yourself in order to keep going or to adjust to the times. I made a pivot, last year in no longer photographing weddings and only focusing on maternity and newborn. Over the years in my business, I've learned what I love to do and what I don't love to do so much.
Right.
And so that's why I, focused on the maternity newborn photography.
Okay. So did you find that there was a need for that? Is that why you just kind of shifted, or just...
There is a need. There's more of an artistry, I think, is what has drawn me to that. I no longer love being on my feet for 10 hours a day, chasing around wedding parties and,
yes.
things like that. I loved doing the weddings. I love meeting people. I love traveling and all of that. But I think in the studio, I'm more in control of the creativity, and I can just hone in more on the things I love to do.
Okay, that's great. How important is self-care? We talked briefly, you mentioned it earlier in the interview, but how important is self-care?
Self-care is very important. I mentioned earlier about mindset and mentality, and the way I'm able to combat through that is basically by going to the gym. I work out at least 3 or 4 times a week. If I don't make it to the gym, my body will tell me, my mental will tell me. So self-care is very important. I also truly believe that you have to dress and act and walk like the person that you're aspiring to be. A dress for success kind of thing.
Right.
And so self-care is a big part of that.
Okay, great. Now, in 3 words, how would you describe yourself?
I would have to say creative, right? I love to be creative, obviously, being in the photography world. I would have to say I'm a very optimistic person. I love seeing the brighter side of things and always seeing the glass as half full instead of half empty. And I'd also have to say I'm a very patient person. A lot of my clients always tell me how patient I am. And so I feel like that's part of me.
Yes, because a lot of people are not patient at all. Monica, how do you show up as a leader?
That's a great question. I feel like I show up as a leader by being the type of person I would want to follow. Just being a person of integrity, of being authentic. And, being a leader isn't always about the title or just having authority. It's also about being the type of person that inspires people and motivates people to follow you.
Okay, I like that. If you were to write a book about yourself, how would you name it? And
Marcy,
why?
you have great questions.
Yes.
The title of my book would have to be my favorite t-shirt slogan, which is know your worth and add tax.
Oh, I like that.
Which basically means know your worth and don't settle for anything less. Like, you've put in the work, you've put in the time, you've worked on your skill set, and know your worth and create a premium value on that.
Nice, I like that. Yes. Okay, so what is next for Monica?
Next for Monica, honestly, I have this dream of being able to travel to different cities and create pop-up studio spots.
Nice.
Like Monica Brazier is in your town for one day only. Come get your maternity session done, So that's my goal. I have to do some more marketing and more beefing up of my name on the online world, but that's eventually what I'd like to do.
How would you get the word out if you're doing a pop-up?
Right. I think it would be more like renting an Airbnb for the day. And I bring my studio set up and, put it up in the house, or renting a hotel room or something, and having, pregnant women from that city come to me for a small maternity session. Not everybody can get to South Bend, Indiana, right, to visit my studio. So I'll come to them.
Okay, nice. What type of legacy would you like to leave?
The legacy I would like to leave my children, again, is the same legacy that my parents instilled in me, was just to have determination and to not let anybody tell you can't do something, either because you're a woman or you're a minority or whatever the case. Just keep on going and do the thing.
Like it, yes. I ask all of my guests what their definition is of a boss. So, Monica, what is your definition of a boss?
My definition of a boss would having control of your own destiny. And again, knowing your worth, knowing your value, and not settling for less.
Love it. Yes. Monica, if someone wants to contact you, maybe to book a session or something like that, how can they find you?
Thank you, Mercy, for that opportunity. My website would be the best way to see samples of my work and to learn more about my services, which is www.monicabrazier.com, or I'm also on Facebook or Instagram under Monica Brazier Photography.
Very good. You heard it right there. So if you've been thinking about getting a photography session hit up Monica. Now, Monica, do you have any last remarks?
Again, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. Again, congratulations to you on building this beautiful platform for women to come and speak and learn. And kudos to you. And I hope for many more podcasts from you.
Most definitely. More are on the way. And
Yes.
Thank you for that. And thank you for tuning in. Monica, thank you for sharing your story with our listeners today. To all my listeners, I want to thank you for tuning in. You can always follow me on Facebook at A Journey with Women Who Boss Up. You can go to my website at womenwhobossup.com, or you can email me at www.bossup@gmail.com. And as always, please leave me a review and let me know what you think of the podcast. Until next time, everyone, take it easy.